It happened to me last Tuesday. I was sitting in traffic, minding my own business, when this incredibly grating pop song came on the radio. The chorus was just a single, repetitive, high pitched phrase over a synthesized polka beat, and it immediately made me want to rip the antenna off my car. I slapped the dashboard button to change the station, muttered a few choice words about the state of modern music, and went on with my day. But the universe is a cruel comedian. 2 hours later, that exact same song was playing over the tinny speakers at the grocery store while I was picking out avocados. That evening, it was the background track to a completely unrelated video on my social media feed. By Thursday, a coworker was humming it softly at the coffee machine, and then came the moment of ultimate betrayal. On Saturday morning, while scrubbing my shower tiles, I caught myself. I wasn't just humming it, I was passionately belting out the chorus. And the worst part? I didn't even hate it anymore. I actually kind of liked it. My brain hadn't discovered some hidden musical genius in the track. I had simply fallen victim to one of the most pervasive, subconscious glitches in human psychology, the mere exposure effect. This psychological phenomenon states a simple, almost unsettling truth. The more often you are exposed to something, the more you grow to prefer it. It requires no conscious effort, no logical reasoning, and absolutely no initial chemistry. Familiarity doesn't breed content, it breeds affection. To understand how deep this glitch goes, we have to travel back to Paris in the year 1887. A collective of France's most prominent writers, painters, and architects signed a furious public manifesto. They were protesting the construction of a new monument for the World's Fair, calling it a gigantic, hideous black factory chimney. They claimed this vile column of bolted sheet iron would permanently ruin the beauty of Paris. That bolted sheet iron was the Eiffel Tower. For the first few years, locals looked at it with absolute disdain. But the tower didn't move. It just stood there, day after day, dominating the skyline. Parisians saw it when they woke up, when they walked to work, and when they sat outside at cafes. Slowly, the collective psychological friction began to wear away. The brain stops fighting what it cannot escape. Within a few decades, the giant metal blemish became the ultimate global symbol of romance and elegance. The tower didn't change, the human brain did. In 1968, a brilliant psychologist named Robert Zainjon decided to test this phenomenon in a controlled lab setting. He gathered a group of participants and showed them a series of completely meaningless symbols. He used foreign characters and entirely made-up nonsense words like iktitaf and biwajni. Zainjon manipulated the data by flashing some of these words on a screen up to 25 times, while others were shown only once or twice. Afterward, he asked the participants a simple question. Which of these words do you think have a positive meaning? The results were staggering. The participants overwhelmingly rated the words they had seen the most frequently as being highly positive. They didn't know what the words meant because they didn't mean anything, but their subconscious mind recognized the visual pattern, felt a wave of comfort, and labeled it as good. Zainjon took it a step further by flashing geometric shapes so quickly that the participants couldn't even consciously register seeing them. Even when people had absolutely no conscious memory of seeing a shape, they still preferred it over the others when tested later. This is the hidden engine behind the multi-billion-dollar advertising industry. When a mega corporation plasters its logo in billboards, sports stadiums, and digital ads, they aren't trying to convince you with facts. They don't need to explain why their soda or insurance policy is superior. They just need to implant their logo into your visual field so many times that when you walk down a grocery store aisle, your instinctively reaches for the familiar label. Your brain confuses familiarity with safety and quality. And it doesn't just apply to objects or logos, it completely dominates our social lives. Think about that one classmate or coworker who, on day one, seemed entirely uninteresting or even slightly annoying. You didn't have a sudden, dramatic moment of realization where they saved your life or told an incredible joke. You just saw them at the water cooler on Monday. You passed them in the hallway on Wednesday. You sat across from them in a meeting on Friday. 6 months later, you find yourself sitting at a bar with them, laughing hysterically, calling them one of your closest friends. Proximity and repetition do the heavy lifting that we attribute to fate. But why are our brains wired this way? Why are we so easily tricked by repetition? The answer lies deep within our evolutionary survival code. For our ancient ancestors, anything new was an existential hazard. An unfamiliar rustle in the bushes meant a saber-toothed tiger. An unknown berry meant instant, agonizing poison. Our brains evolved to view novelty with intense, cautious suspicion. However, if an ancient human encountered a specific rock formation or a specific tree 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, and didn't die, the brain registered a vital piece of data. This thing has not killed me yet, therefore it must be safe. That ancient survival mechanism is still running in your modern skull right now. Your brain rewards you with a tiny hit of comfort whenever it recognizes something from its past, because recognition implies survival. But there is a hard limit to this psychological superpower. Psychologists call it the boredom effect or overexposure. If you experience a stimulus too many times within a short window, the positive feeling hits a ceiling. Suddenly, the bubble bursts. The safety of familiarity morphs into the agonizing torture of pure monotony. Play that favorite pop song 50 times in a single weekend, and you will quickly find yourself right back where you started, wanting to rip your car antenna off. So, the next time you find yourself suddenly loving a trend you used to despise or buying a brand you never intended to try, take a deep breath and smile at your ancient defensive brain. It's just trying to make sure the saber-toothed tigers don't get you.